The number of deaths and cases of COVID-19 in the country has been rising steadily in recent time. As majority of the districts and local levels have eased restrictions, public movements have gone up, raising the chance of daily infections going even higher. Meanwhile, the government has failed to rescue thousands of Nepali migrant workers stranded abroad due to loss of jobs and source of income in many months since the pandemic began. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. A record high 16 COVID-19 deaths reported in the country yesterday. Death tally climbs to 427. Number of cases reaches 65,276. Government fails to rescue stranded migrant workers abroad. Mere 20 Nepalese return home with government support in 2 months. The much-awaited General Convention of the main opposition Nepali Congress engulfed in uncertainties. And world number one Novak Djokovic wins the Italian Open title for a record 36th ATP Masters crown, defeating Diego Schwartzman. Simona Halep wins the women's title. A total of 1,154 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the coronavirus tally to 65,276. Meanwhile, 16 individuals succumbed to the virus yesterday, taking the COVID-19 death tally to 427. Speaking at the press briefing yesterday, spokesman for the Health Ministry, Dr. Jageshwar Gautam, informed that a total of 9,533 swab samples were tested yesterday through the PCR method, taking the test tally in the country to over 923,000 as of the latest updates. 674 coronavirus cases were reported from the federal capital yesterday. 538 cases were reported in Kathmandu district alone, 74 in Bhaktapur and 62 in Lalitpur. Likewise, Morang district confirmed 107 new cases, Saptari 47, Kailali 37, Rupandehi 29 and Surkhet 28. Meanwhile, 1,005 individuals were discharged after registering full recovery yesterday. With this, the number of individuals registering full recovery has reached 47,238, maintaining the recovery rate to 72%. According to the Health Ministry, there are 17,611 active cases in the country, out of which 8,921 are in isolation centers, while 8,690 are in home isolation. A total of 7,403 individuals are in quarantine centers across the country. The Health Ministry informed that 31 patients are receiving treatment in ventilators and 196 in ICUs. The government has failed to rescue stranded Nepali migrant workers from abroad. Only 20 individuals out of over 40,000 stranded migrant workers have been rescued by spending the budget of the Foreign Employment Welfare Fund over the period of 2 months. The government, meanwhile, is preparing to amend the guideline, citing it as faulty.
More than 10,000 Nepali migrant workers have been stranded in Malaysia due to the lack of money. Only 2 workers have returned to Nepal from Malaysia on government expenses. The situation is similar in the Gulf countries as well. The government lacks efforts in bringing the stranded laborers back home by spending the budget of the Foreign Employment Welfare Fund. The government had prepared a guideline on the 3rd week of July, aiming to rescue the stranded Nepali migrant workers. As per the guideline, the government would spend the fund's budget, which is deposited by workers themselves, while going abroad for employment. More than 5 billion rupees has been collected in the fund so far. However, according to the Foreign Employment Board, 2 laborers from Malaysia and 18 from Bahrain have been rescued until now, saying that Nepalese embassies in host countries could not verify the stranded workers who have not been able to return home due to the lack of money. As per the guideline, the government could rescue the stranded migrant workers who could not receive air tickets from the host country, employer, or recruitment agency. Not only that, the recruitment agency needs to approach the employer for tickets. The government is preparing to amend the guidelines, citing that embassies could not verify the stranded workers due to such faulty provisions. The government had spent more than a month to prepare the guideline. However, it is amending the guideline, which was prepared 2 months ago, due to the faulty provisions. This clearly exhibits the government's negligence and apathy towards the problems of the migrant workers.
The 14th General Convention of Main Opposition Nepali Congress that was slated for 19th of February has been postponed. The next date for the event has yet to be decided. Top brass leaders of the party had been mulling over postponing the General Convention, citing unfinished tasks of party integration at the district level and distribution of memberships. Although the existing leadership, going by the party's statute, cannot extend its tenure, the leadership faction is preparing to propose to the Central Committee to extend its term by 6 months. It may be recalled, a few days back, the party's president, Sherpa had called for a party meeting to prepare for a new schedule for the General Convention. However, Central Committee meetings have been stalled since party's General Secretary, Shashank Koirala, tested positive for coronavirus. Meanwhile, the opposition faction has demanded the party to hold the General Convention on the pre-decided date. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli addressed the high-level meeting through a pre-recorded video yesterday, marking the 75th year of establishment of the United Nations organization. In his video message, Prime Minister Oli stated that the UN was at crossroads of continuity and transformation, and that it was a collective responsibility of the member states to strengthen and empower the UN as the center of multilateralism to deal with the complex challenges confronting the world. Prime Minister Oli is also scheduled to address the 75th Annual General Assembly meeting of the UN on 25th of September. Premier Oli will highlight particularly on the 4 main issues that include the role of the UN in controlling the coronavirus pandemic, challenges faced by the least developed countries during the global pandemic, impact of climate change on small and island nations, and Nepal's strategy and efforts during the pandemic and its consequences. A total of 182 speakers, including 88 heads of state and 44 heads of government, are scheduled to address the commemorative event. For the first time, the UN General Assembly meeting will be organized virtually amid the global pandemic of coronavirus. During the Assembly meeting, a sideline meeting of foreign ministers of SAARC nations will also be organized. Foreign Minister Pradeep Gewali informed Kantipur News that the foreign minister level meeting will focus on the importance and need of the SAARC at a time when the regional summit has been halted since 4 years. Angrita Sherpa is a name not just known in Nepal's mountaineering scene, but also around the world. Sherpa, who hailed from Thame of Solukhumbu, helped Nepal achieve global popularity in mountaineering. He himself had achieved a record of summiting the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest, 10 times without supplemental oxygen, a feat impossible for many. Sherpa, who is also popularly known as Snow Leopard, died yesterday at the age of 72.
Popularly known as Snow Leopard, Angrita Sherpa was born in Solukhumbu's Thame village in 1948. Sherpa began mountaineering at an early age of 15 and summited Mount Choyu without supplemental oxygen at the age of 20. He conquered the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest, in 1983 and then climbed it 9 more times without supplemental oxygen. He repeated the feat at Pakistan's Mount K2, Nepal's Manaslu, Lhotse, Annapurna and Dholagiri, to name a few. His record of summiting Mount Everest 10 times without supplemental oxygen has yet to be challenged, let alone broken. Sherpa is amongst very few individuals who helped establish Nepal as a top destination for mountaineering in the global arena. As a tribute to his courage and determination, Sherpa has been bestowed with many accolades and was given the name Snow Leopard. Angrita Sherpa, who was suffering from brain and liver problems, died on Monday at the age of 72. He is survived by 3 sons and a daughter. Sherpa's death is a tragic loss for the nation and the overall mountaineering sector of Nepal.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked businessmen in Salyan district what should be done to prevent the spread of coronavirus now that the prohibitory orders have been lifted. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
स्वास्थ्य सम्बन्धी तय भएका मापदण्डहरूलाई अवलम्बन गरेको छु। मेरो आफ्नो ब्यागमा पनि अहिले सेनिटाइजर बोकेको छु। मैले मास्क पनि लगाउने गरिरहेको छु।
ग्राहकहरू आउँदाखेरि सेनिटाइजर उ गर्ने उनीहरुसँग सोशल डिस्टेन्स कायम गर्ने अनि हामीले चाहिँ सामानहरु बेच्दा चाहिँ ग्लोभ्स लगाउने मास्कको प्रयोग गर्ने
दूरी कायम गर्नु नै पर्यो त्यसपछि मास्क प्रयोग अनिवार्य प्रयोग गर्नु नै पर्यो त्यसपछि जब हामी चाहिँ कसैसँग वरपर कसै घुम्नु भइसकेपछि हामीले चाहिँ साबुन पानीले हात धोएर जतिसक्दो हामीले स्वास्थ्यका मापदण्डहरुमा रहेर अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ
मास्कको प्रयोग गरिरहेका छौं र आउने ग्राहकहरूलाई पनि हामीले सेनिटाइजर दिने गरेका छौं प्रत्येकले सेनिटाइजर हातमा लगाउने गर्नुहुन्छ अथवा दल्ने गर्नुहुन्छ र हामी अलिकति टाढै एउटा टेबलमा अथवा एउटा टेबलमा 4 जनाको क्षमता छ भने हामी चाहिँ 2 जनालाई बस्न हामीले आग्रह गरेका छौं
And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. What's your take on party practice of providing expenses to its leaders? Your options are A, against ethics, B, base for institutional corruption, and C, normal practice. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.